Has anybody from Jason down to your wife told you to just shut the fuck up already with Twitter?
Everybody tells me to shut the fuck up. You have to also understand who follows me.
And welcome back to another edition of the Business of Betting podcast. My name is Jeff Edelstein. I'm a senior analyst at InGame. I'm joined today by Matt Kalish. Matt, good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff, great to be with you.
So everyone knows your backstory, co-founder of DraftKings, or with Hardscope now, which you founded. We'll talk about all that later. But the first thing I want to ask you, I think I'm going to speak, generally speaking, for the world at large here. And to quote Jeff Lebowski, I'll use the parlance of our times. You good, bro?
I'm amazing. It was funny. I was getting a lot of the, crash out, which I used to only hear from my kids, my middle schoolers. I'm minding my business. I was actually on vacation in Mexico, having a great time. Last thing I wanted to do is be on the internet posting, but I just kind of got a little ticked off by something, and here we are. I felt like a small starting point kind of kept building into, every time I turn over a stone, there's something weird. And yeah, it kind of turned into, I almost feel like I'm like a detective or something. It's a strange feeling, but for sure, no crash out. But I am really intellectually curious about, hey, what happens to my money here on these exchanges?
And so had you been thinking about this, or was it when you noticed the Brooks Koepka, the difference in the, in the odds based on how much you were willing to put down? Is that what triggered all this, or had this been percolating for some time?
Absolutely not. I mean, I retired from operating in the industry back, I announced in November, and was helping a little bit, mostly I was kind of done in November, but helped a bit up until maybe March. My plan was to be out of the industry. The 14 years of building DraftKings was amazing, but I did my, stint, and I felt like my days of operating and going in the weeds like that were over. I just gamble a lot. I really love gambling, whatever it is. I don't care if it's an exchange. I don't care if it's a fantasy game or a sports book. I do casino, everything. I love the games. It's what got me into the industry. And I had nothing against, Kalshi. At the time, I thought it was exciting. I think the exchange innovations are super good overall. And I wanted to try it. I saw the marketing, 50 states, you can kind of bet sports. I was in Mexico. I'm I don't even know if it works in Mexico. It does. Anybody didn't know that? Kalshi works in Mexico. So PGA Championship, I gave it a shot. It was kind of like the product that was available where I was, You probably know the rest of the story, but I was a little surprised by how it worked, and not in a good way.
And it's one thing to note what you noted, which is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to come at this from the everyman perspective, not from somebody who covers the industry. Basically, if you want to put small amount of money on Koepka, you were getting one set of odds. And if you want to put a bigger money on Koepka, you were getting a second set of odds. Is that more or less what happened that you saw?
More or less. I mean, I put in on Thursday, I put in a bet on Koepka to win, and it was kind of my first time betting into the PGA Championship that week, so I fired, I think it was $10,000 or something, and I see them listed at 3 cents, so I'm a sports bettor and a losing gambler for sure. I lose money. I just do it for fun. And I'm kind of like a regular user, like a regular use case. What I expect is you show me it's 3 cents or whatever, or whatever the price is, it's the price. That's how sports betting works. You click the price, type in your dollar amount, hit bet, and you have a bet. In this case, God knows what happens. It gets sort of dumped off to Wall Street or somebody. The price is now 9 cents, he's 10 to 1 or something to win. Obviously, that's nonsense. No breakage alerts, nothing. It's just, what the hell happened? I just dumped my bet into somebody way smarter than me, obviously, and instantly lost $4,000, probably five. And I let this go. And then it was the next day, I come back on, and I was just kind of putting in a little bit more action. So they show me the same thing, but now I'm kind of clocking it a little bit. So why is it showing me 93 to 1? Then I put in my bet and it's now 38 to 1. That makes no sense, right? But that's I'm a normal bettor, and made me think just what happens to your money on these exchanges? This isn't sports betting to me. And that was kind of the tip off point of from there forward, every single thing I looked at, I'm like, what is going on with this company? And it was really, I genuinely wanted to stop even like looking, but every single thing was something weird. And I just kept finding like the things that were being said. And this is not about all exchanges. This is about specifically Kalshi, like marketing messages, comms, way that they look at data and talk about volume. Everything's weird. What data they're sharing with market makers. The stuff that they were representing was just so consistently different than what is actually going on that like, I just don't trust this. I don't trust this, you know, and I am a trusting person. It's very hard to make me feel this way, but it's maybe one of the first times where I'm like, something's off here with these guys. What's going on?
What's interesting I think from all of our perspectives of people who have been following this industry in one way, shape, or form or another, is like your criticism comes out, you make your point, you get some blowback, you know, there's some, you know, back and forth on Twitter, and you don't stop. You keep digging and you keep finding other things, you keep posting other things, and you start listing them. Of all the things that you have, I'll put it in air quotes, discovered, what are some of the things that really stand out to you as real, you know, problems for you?
Well, there's some things I just think are kind of a bad experience due to the product and like the UI and UX not being very good. And there's some things that make me disdainful towards Kalshi. And those are very different things. The marketing and comms practices, particularly like consumer marketing, is created like a strong disdain for how I look at Tarek and that company now. And it's very hard for me to not feel that way. Repeatedly seeing 3-4 times where promoting and marketing things like normal Main Street, casual users have an edge over Wall Street and presenting it like this could be a job. I mean, people are going to get into a pickle on Kalshi here listening to that. You know, when you're in the industry, the gambling industry for 14 years, and you just see, you know, people love to go on the internet and say how good they are at gambling and they smash the house and it's all these, you know, pick sellers and a lot of fake stuff out there. And when people start to believe that, though, they think, I mean, this is gambling. There's a house edge. If you gamble, you are going to lose long term. And to plant the idea like these normal Main Street people are advantaged over Wall Street who have models and APIs and data on them. They're profiling them. They know who you are. It's like, they're not there for charity. Like, that's a for-profit market-making business. And same thing with the professional gamblers and everything. And these are things that I think if a DraftKings or a FanDuel ran with, we would lose our gambling license, you know? And it just seems like a really unethical, and it created a lot of very disdainful feeling for me.
Now, I mean, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't point this out. I mean, when DraftKings launched, you know, back in 14, 15, and the marketing blitz that came with it, there was a lot of pushback that sounds similar, honestly, to what you're saying here, that anyone can win, you know, this could be a job, you know. I mean, if you remember I'll never forget the John Oliver bit with Seth Rogen, you know, where he gets in an argument with his wife, you know, his fake wife about like, you know, he's going to make a living being a daily fantasy player. And on top of that, there's also obviously, you know, the legalization aspect of it. But putting that aside for a second, do you see a similarity between the marketing that they're doing and what you guys did, you know, a decade ago?
I lived through that. A lived experience matters. I mean, like going through that was a nightmare, and we paid severely for that. And I know what the takeaways were. This was a very different time, you know, like we're talking about a time when there was kind of like nothing you could even do in sports in the US, predicting things for real money. You could go to Vegas and bet like a retail sports book, but there was no, aside from offshore or something, there really wasn't like products out there. There wasn't marketing. Nobody knew what the product even was with fantasy. And I do see there being some similarity of, like, yeah, I understand you want customers to become aware of the option. Like there's exchange betting now. Yes, you want that. For sure, you want to tell anecdotal stories about almost like the Powerball would or something. Like this person had a successful thing. But where did we pay the consequences of that? Severely. It was, the fact is that's not a typical user experience, right? It's like the typical user experience is 99% of people come on, you're playing for fun, house edge is going to do its natural course of things and you're going to lose money. And how do you not learn from that? Like, I'm not by any means saying or like not being accountable to those days, but I'm like, when you're sitting there in 2026 and you've seen this movie, what are we doing? Like, we have seen this movie before. I know exactly how this movie ends. What are they doing? And the ego, the lack of just any sort of instinct for it is, I know I'm not being articulate. I know I'm being quite disrespectful. I know I'm using profanity. I know all of that. It bothers me deeply.
Do you think part of it comes from, is it possible, and I'm not defending them, but is it possible that they're looking at it more from like leaning into the finance side of it and not looking at it from a gambling perspective? And I know that I feel like we're splitting hairs by saying that, and we're leaning into, if it walks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's a duck. This is gambling, but by virtue of the legalities of it, they can't call it gambling, right? And, it's event contracts and this and the other thing. And they're coming from, a finance lens as opposed to a gambling lens. Do you think that plays into the fact that they're not even thinking about what DraftKings and FanDuel did 10, 12 years ago with the marketing, that they don't even see it? Or am I being naive?
My life got a lot better once I stopped thinking kind of like that and started thinking people know exactly what they're doing. And you know what I'm saying? I used to like let everybody off the hook on things. I'm like, they're probably just, they don't realize or they know what they're doing. And you can tell because when it's convenient, they're saying it's 50 state legal sports betting to consumers. What is Kalshi, right? Kalshi is a middleman that gets paid fees to introduce retail bet flow to Wall Street market makers, right? Wall Street market makers are the sportsbook. They're the house. Or pro gamblers or whatever. So when you're talking to their Wall Street buddies, they're a Wall Street infrastructure company. We're going to give you all this great, retail bet flow. You'll make $1 bazillion. Just give liquidity on our platform. They're giving them rewards for the liquidity and all this. And that's how they're talking there. Then they're talking to regulators about how everything's super buttoned up and whatever, which has a lot of holes in it. And then with consumers, though, they're saying you have an advantage over these guys and it's 50 state legal sports betting. It's this like nice, fun product. Here, download our app. Like, do you know how much the app is completely inferior to even the website? Never mind the API users that never in a million years looked at the app. You're not betting like they market. You're not betting against me or your friends or your peers. Like, you are betting against machine, a money-making machine that is nameless, faceless, and will do anything they can to make as much money as humanly possible. That is what that is.
So in your criticisms against Kalshi, to be clear, they are leveled at Kalshi and not against the model itself.
Correct. I don't think it's a bad product inherently. I mean, if I was a professional gambler, or if I was like a highly skilled gambler, if I loved super competitive, complex problems, yeah, like the Wall Street firms, the hedge funds, they like beating each other up on different stuff all the time. But it's a game that is not casual and it's not fun. It's a dirty, dirty game. And if you think about all the little things, we're not talking about a product where you're just like, let me predict who's going to win the game. You're talking about where should I place my orders to maximize how fast I milk these retail users and do it tricky. Like the Brooks Koepka bet is somebody has like $10 staked at 93-1, and then my whole order gets filled at 38-1 below that. Like, okay, so all you have to do is throw $1 up at a good price and bait somebody stupid like me to click it. I mean, come on. That is a shark game. It's a Shark Tank, and it needs to be talked about in that way. Like, it needs to be clear. This is chess. This is like, you will get demolished if you don't study this and know what you're doing.
Using the Koepka bet again as the example, wouldn't you be running into the same problem at other exchanges? Like, aren't they all operating under the same basic premise?
See, I don't even know because the only one I've used is Kalshi. Like, if I'd use Polymarket, I've noticed Polymarket is getting pretty beat up as well in the news. Seems like maybe some of the same things, some are different things. What I've said, I've met like Tarek, I've met Shane before. I know them both I found Shane more kind of like likable or charismatic and had like more pulse for the customer. And on social media, people like seem to like them more on social media. I've noticed. I just like haven't really seen anybody that likes Kalshi on social media other than their paid affiliates. That strikes me as weird. It's like everything that you see is bought and paid for. So I'll give Polymarket the like in culture as a kind of media or just being relevant. They're definitely attracting some attention. But then the news is the news, right? Insider trading stuff they're dealing with and whatever is obviously, look, I just didn't speak on it because that's not where I had the bet. It maybe is the exact same thing. I don't know.
Well, from a PR perspective, it drives me bananas. Like both these companies, they see any rake that's in the field, they're stepping on. To me, it's insane, right? It's insane that they're offering markets on things that already happened and they're just begging for, insiders to screw around with it. It's incredible to me that unlike DraftKings and FanDuel back in the day, instead of working together, they are at each other's throats and trying to put each other out of business, as opposed to, trying to like legitimize all of this. The company that you've helped found, DraftKings, obviously is launching their own version of all this. I've launched their own version of this. You're on the board still with DraftKings. Was there any concern that taking to the X airwaves like you have, that it would look poorly upon the DraftKings or the industry in general? Or you're just speaking for yourself?
I mean, yeah, I care for my former coworkers, my partners who were always so great to me. We had a great partnership. It was 14 years, nothing bad ever really happened. I felt extremely well taken care of by Jason as my boss, whenever, and as a partner and as a friend. I don't mean to bring any bad attention to the company. If I do that, then, I have to live with that and I'm accountable for that. And let's just say this. I'm more like the sort of person where I would probably like leave the board before not doing what I'm doing, if that makes sense. I would just like, get out of their way.
Has anybody from Jason down to your wife told you to just shut the fuck up already with Twitter?
Everybody tells me to shut the fuck up. You have to also understand who follows me. Like I don't have a massive audience, right? It's like 40,000 or something people, but it's a pretty specific audience. Like I have 4,000 plus Wall Street market makers that follow me from Jane Street, Susquehanna, etc. The amount of professional gamblers that follow me is like a huge number. It's an audience that is like very skewed towards the target. It's the people currently making money off exchanges. Why would you want that to stop? I understand that. To them, it's game. It's business. It is like, we're here to make money. And I understand that. And I don't think there's any problem with this product existing. There should be hard games that are complicated, that are competitive. If people want to beat the hell out of each other, trading and doing all this crazy stuff with APIs and whatever, have a great time trading against each other. But don't market to me, this is some nice sportsbook app I can just download and bet anything in 50 states and whatever, and just put me into the meat grinder like that. Like, that's crazy.
What do we think is going to happen, though? I'm guessing that leading up to the NFL season, that everyone else who is in this ring is going to go hard marketing wise, like FanDuel, DraftKings, like, I'm talking California, Texas. Like, I mean, do you think the lessons learned at the C-suites of DraftKings, FanDuel, et cetera, is their marketing going to be markedly different than what Kalshi's putting out there, come August when they're trying to get the NFL dollars?
It's not from firsthand sitting there. I just know. Like, I know the type of company DraftKings is. Are they competitive? Yeah, but they've been a consumer product business for 14 years, building the top rated app. Like if you look at Eilers or anything, all of the products that they ship are industry leading. They have the highest satisfaction, have the highest reinvestment rates in the customers. We have the best pricing, typically speaking. There's a lot of pride in making normal people happy and giving a good experience. And there's also, like you were bringing up, a lot of sort of lived experience, a lot of scar tissue from feeling the implication of doing things if you do something wrong. Those things leave a mark forever. And then you have systems for it, right? Like DraftKings would never mess something up like this. I mean, no way. But I do think that they're going to compete and they're going to market and they're going to bring a great product. And I think Kalshi does not have that DNA. Like they don't have that consumer DNA at all, that instinct at all. And I try not to dismiss people, but I just don't see how they're gonna make a normal person happy with that team and that culture and the type of product and the way they run that operation.
Did you ever see yourself being like, yeah, I mean, the torchbearer for all this? And beyond that, like, again, I've been covering this industry now for about 6-7 years. I would have to say in the of the Venn diagram of important people in the industry, or in your case X of the industry, and volume and anger on Twitter, it's about as high as it's ever been. Like, you're hitting like both things here. I mean, did you ever see yourself getting so worked up about something like this that take it public?
No, definitely not. Look, it takes a lot. It really does. Like, I am not that difficult of a person typically. And like, the first bet I was telling you about, I made it. I saw what happened, got a lousy price, probably lost like $4,000 on the spot or whatever it was. I didn't say a word, I'm like, I'm an idiot. It's kind of like a Machiavellian thinking. It's like, I'm the idiot for doing this to myself. But then when I put on my hat of, well, what are they saying to consumers? Like, what are they saying to customers? And I'm like, I'm one of the probably most educated people in the space on these products. Like, I did actually work on stuff like the Railbird acquisition, or what are we going to be building for the exchange kind of earlier on in the roadmap, day one on the sportsbook product to today, like, played really important roles in all of that, the product development, the operations, the customer side. And yeah, like I think it's unacceptable. So no, I never thought I would, but I never thought there'd be like that bad of an actor to deal with, and you expect it from maybe like an offshore, totally illegal black market company to have no rules, right? But like operating like you have no rules under this premise, to me, is somebody's got to say something. And I just feel like maybe it was God's plan that I just so happen to hold like the amount of information I do and know as much about the industry as I do. And I just left my job, and, nobody's speaking like this who has a job at a company in this space.
Which is what makes it fascinating, like, to watch on Twitter. I mean, it is fascinating. I brought up, the DFS, the marketing thing earlier. From a broader perspective, though, what lessons did you guys learn bringing DFS to market that the Kalshis, the Poly markets should have been paying attention to?
With the benefit of that knowledge, I think the bar should be much higher, for one. Like, a good example would be, a couple of years in, obviously fantasy is a skill game, but you haven't studied consumer behavior for years and years and years. And like, okay, what exactly are the most skilled fantasy players doing to make the most money? What are like their advantage sizes exactly? All of this stuff. Like, things happen, you learn from it, you put controls in. And so like over the years, you ended up with things like beginner games, flagging highly skilled users, limiting how much volume skilled players can take, these sorts of things that protect the economy, and see how they have this excuse, because this is Wall Street to the core. It's the same. How is it any different from algorithmic trading of stocks that they do and stuff with all their computers, right? It's the same thing Robinhood does. It's Robinhood sends retail bet flow to Wall Street. Then Wall Street says, thank you for your retail, unsophisticated deal flow. Here's money. Like, Robinhood gets paid for sending stuff to Wall Street. They know exactly what they're doing. It's how do we like trick and farm retail users into this product experience where they have no chance? And that's what I don't think is acceptable. They just know. Like, knowing and doing nothing about it, and then gaslighting consumers and just like completely lying in marketing, that's the problem to me. That I could sit here and nitpick the product all day. Like, I don't think I would have looked into most stuff if the product was like a fun experience, but I can live with somebody just not building a good product, or like not feeling like they built a good product. I'll just be like, I'm not going to use it.
But this is a Wall Street product that is being marketed as like an everyman, like you can beat the street type thing. I'm not putting words in your mouth. That's what I'm taking away from what you're saying.
Yeah, like, here's a crazy thing. I'm like, they have this guy posting on the internet, the legal / enforcement officer, right? He's posting exclusively about Polymarket, right? It's not a single thing about Kalshi, right? But his job is an enforcement. What is the job of an enforcement officer at an exchange, a CFTC regulated exchange? It's surveillance of the activity in your own market It's detecting wash trading, detecting, all like these sort of things and stopping them and escalating them to regulators and then putting the enforcement action in motion. It's all internal driven, right? And so I look and I'm like, there's not a single case where Kalshi has ever had a wash trade. Look at CME. CME is like, just Google it. Look at ICE. The exchanges that actually are like doing their job, these things happen, right? They just detect them through their surveillance and take action. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Is he Poly Markets enforcement officer? It's like, what? How are you just not doing your job at all? And that's okay. And it's just crazy to me, right? Like some of the stuff is once you lose trust, then the skepticism just gets so high. And it's even if something is 20% chance, it becomes like so much more elevated in your head because you can't trust the people in the culture that they're from. And so I think they got a lot of work to do. I don't know, a lot of work to do to show that they can be trusted and get the benefit of the doubt. Because right now I'm like doubting the benefit of them existing.
One thing that I guess I'd like to see is I'd love to be able to go into a trade and see how much of the volume is institutional driven as opposed to me driven. That would be helpful, right? And I think that would go a long way towards like taking the veil off of it.
It's a good example too, like in daily fantasy sports, that was one of the things, right? It was flagging highly skilled users. You were able to see it was like a tier system. So if you're playing one-on-one against somebody or you're entering a tournament, you can see every single person's like skill rating, almost like a chess elo or something. Like when you play chess, what's your elo score, whatever. Here we all know what it is, right? It's Wall Street, it's pro gamblers, it's like crypto pros, it's all these sharks. And that's okay. But the marketing says you're playing against peers. What are we saying here? What is a peer to you? I think they mean their peers, their Wall Street buddies is what they're talking about.
When I first heard of all this, I'm like, oh, this sounds pretty good. I think the Mets are going to win tonight. I'll throw a bet out there, or somebody can take it from me. And I realize that is clearly not what it is. But I guess going back to the marketing thing, how do you market this? I mean, I guess when you market a sports book, everyone knows you're betting against the house, right? There's no secret to who's on the other side of you. When I bet with DraftKings, DraftKings is on the other side of the house. The point you're making, obviously, when you bet with Kalshi, it's almost certainly going to be someone much smarter or a computer that you're betting against and not like the average Joe, despite what the marketing would lead you to believe. So I'm not going to say but how does another company market this and kind of thread that needle? Because you don't want to market this by saying you're going up against the smartest, most sophisticated people in the world. Good fucking luck. I mean, that's not going to work from a marketing perspective. So like what ways can companies get into this and be honest, right? But also, not torpedo their own chances at collecting a customer.
It's not impossible. Look, I mean, I can help them right now on the spot. You're in financial services. Yeah. Like Robinhood is one of the most successful financial services companies in terms of regular people, customer acquisition. They're following regulations for the most part, pushing it a little bit. E-Trade, whatever. Like when you think about financial services marketing, they're not saying download E-Trade today and gamble on stocks. You can't say it's stocks and then it's sports gambling. That is not it. So I think they have to really like find in the realm of financial services, what are the acceptable practices around driving customer acquisition and marketing? Because right now they look like an illegal black market sports book.
Well, what's interesting about this conversation, where it's leading right now, is like so many people, present company included, say, hey, this is sports betting. We shouldn't be calling it by any other name. Where I'm hearing you're saying that you're coming on from almost from the other side. You're saying, hey, this is a financial product. Stop masquerading as sports betting and just come clean with the fact that it's a financial product. Don't be playing the sports betting sandbox.
Yeah, it's just like not lying, basically, not gaslighting people. Just be honest. If you're just honest, nobody says anything. Like people all the time, if you read some of my threads, one of the things is like, well, DraftKings like wins money. Isn't that what DraftKings does? I'm like, yeah, it's a gambling product in the gambling industry. There's a house edge. The house edge is shown on the site, minus 110, whatever. The price we're giving you is shown on the site. Everybody knows if you gamble long term, you will lose. That's why there's billions of dollars invested in the entertainment aspect. It's a 30, 40% reinvested in rewards. The same reason if you go to the Wynn in Las Vegas, it's super nice in there because they're not telling you you're going to get rich and this is your job gambling. You're not. It's the whoever gives the most entertaining experience for recreational gamblers is who has the most market share. That's pretty much the game. And just say what it is. Like, stop. But if I came out and I'm like, no, DraftKings is nothing like that. Like it could be your job. Like you could retire. Just Sally from Oklahoma is crushing our sports book. Be like, that's stupid. That's not happening. Do you know how good the traders are? Like, it's so hard. It's so hard. And they need to, I think, really lock in before. I mean, they're going to get themselves into a lot of issues. It's like you were saying, why pick all these battles? Like, the never fight wars on two fronts. They're fighting 12 fronts right now. And not that I care. Doesn't matter to me if they succeed or fail. I don't think they're particularly good actors, but like, if I was one of their investors, I would be saying, get your shit together. Like, what are you doing?
From a bigger perspective, a bigger picture perspective, I had interviewed Jason Robbins shortly after they announced that they were going to get into the prediction market business. And I thought it was a pretty honest answer from him. I said, are you getting into this because you think it's the future, or are you getting into this to cover your ass? And he said, yeah, both, basically, because, nobody knows where this all lands. Do you have a sense, if you were going to be putting money on where all this lands in the end? Do prediction markets offering sports event contracts, does it survive past the Trump administration? Does it survive a Supreme Court challenge? Like, what's your general sense there?
If you're DraftKings or a sports book, I think you have to assume it's going to be around, and whatever happens, happens. Like, there's no world where you ignore it. You just can't. That's the thing. I know it's tough too. Like, I feel like I can say this because I'm not at the company, right? If I was, I probably wouldn't. But like, I understand how tough it is probably for like the states, right? They're doing all this work to regulate sports betting the right way. They obviously don't want companies that they're licensing to also operate an exchange that they vehemently disagree with, right? And it's a super tough situation. And it's tough for the operators because they don't know how they're going to be treated by the states, right? And that are licensing them. You don't have a choice, in my view. As an operator, you can't assume that is going to go away. What you have to assume is federal government is very powerful. They have preemptive power over the state. If they're saying this is good, we better assume it's good, and you can't ignore it.
You had said earlier, whoever gives a recreational better, the most satisfaction wins the game. Can a pure prediction market do that? Or I think you were the one who said earlier that it's not in their DNA. It's not in Kalshi's DNA to provide that experience to the recreational bettor. Whereas again, a DraftKings, has, and FanDuel have proven to do so.
Yeah, I think Kalshi will just end up being maybe 7th best or something. Because
they have a huge head start, right?
What's durable, you're talking about a window of time. Yeah, they have a couple months. DraftKings, FanDuel, Fanatics, Robinhood, Coinbase, whoever else. I know I'm forgetting a bunch, and not to dismiss them, all infinitely better consumer marketing and consumer product development teams, and much bigger, way better cultures, much faster. Kalshi's culture is Wall Street. It's to the core an infrastructure company from Wall Street that has I don't think they have any sort of durable aspect to their lead, In fact, I think they've already shown people are trying to get off them as fast as possible, like Robinhood. Robinhood, thank you. Thanks for the couple months we're going to our in-house stack. They wanted us DraftKings to go on their platform. We're like, I think we'll buy, this other thing. You know what I'm saying? How about if we buy our own? That's just how good companies think. You want to own your tech stack, so a dumb company like Kalshi can't ruin your customer experience. If you rely on them and they're operating this way, they're nameless, faceless people to customers. It's you're responsible for that. Customers download DraftKings or they download, FanDuel. If you're trusting their back end and they operate this way, you are taking the hit for that.
All right, let's play a silly, stupid game. The Kalshi board hears this conversation today. They decide that you're 100% correct. They decide to fire Tarek and hire you to be the CEO of Kalshi. What are you keeping? What are you changing? What are you doing different? How do you turn the ship around to your liking?
get rid of this consumer app immediately and shut off the marketing and just fully reevaluate how they're talking to regular people completely off rip. I don't think they have any problems with, like the sort of deals they're doing on Wall Street. It is what it is. This consumer app is like a Shark Tank to decimate people, and they're marketing it like it's some night. Like, I think of all the things I see, I'm like, I feel like they're going to get the most wrecked on the marketing claims and the misrepresentations to regular people that they're making. And the huge disadvantage you have as an app user against these API bot Wall Street people, good luck. I would be immediately like, that is all off. Like, we need to reassess that whole thing. And yeah, the culture just seems really egotistical and almost like nothing bad. Like, if that sense of like nothing bad could ever happen to you, I don't think that lasts.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is that, do you think part of this and part of like maybe what appears to you to be like this cowboy activity of theirs is due to the fact that they have a very welcoming White House and a very welcoming CFTC that is, I mean, the red carpets don't get rolled out much, cleaner than what's happened in the last, year or so for these guys and for the industry in general. Do you think that's part of it?
I'm not saying anybody's doing that. I think the product should exist, full stop, period. But it is also true the CFTC is one person. Like, the board of 5 is one. And how much can one person do? I mean, like, it's a massive change in the scope of work for this organization, and very short-handed board, 1 instead of 5. And he's going to do what he can do, right? Like the commissioner. But the pace that these guys are doing insane shit is so rapid. What's he going to do? It's like, do I want to deal with the insider trading? Do I want to deal with the death markets? Do I want to deal with the predatory marketing? Do I want to deal with the lack of enforcement on Kalshi's exchange, around wash trading? Do I want to deal with the fake metrics? It's one guy, this poor guy. And he's probably like, I never met him, and he's extremely competent. I'm very positive on that, but it's still one person, man. It's hard.
You left this business, you started your own business, Hardscope, which is really nothing to do with the gambling industry. Were you done with the industry? Was the industry done with you? You just wanted something different? How did you make the pivot into Hardscope?
I had kind of my run at DraftKings and felt like, I like smaller things. I like building. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not the type of person that maybe the few years after going public, when the company got kind of big, a little bit more of the kind of financial piece became a bigger emphasis on the business. And, so much work goes into being public. I don't like finance. I don't like legal. I don't like these corporate functions. And I spent all my time pretty much working on the product, working on the content, spending time with customers. And I just love the early stages of like building, trying to get traction and working on something that's hard and that's competitive. And the way I stumbled on creator economy and Hardscope was, there's a huge migration of people watching social media. If you're under 30, you're not watching TV, right? It's the way that DraftKings needs to market fundamentally changed. Like, if you want to reach people late 20s, 30, whatever, it's YouTube, it's Twitch, it's Instagram, short form content for discovery. So much of the marketing engine, though, was built 8 years ago. And so that change ended up being a big focus. Like, I worked a lot on creator economy, how to get DraftKings like against these new channels, who are the right creator partners to work with. And I guess I just like became pretty obsessed with the creator economy and the opportunities there. So I made an investment about 2 years ago, buying a company that had a great creator studio, and then just saw myself spending more and more time on that. And it was almost to the point I felt like it was going to be unfair to my partners at DraftKings, because it was more, at first it was an investment, but then it was more than that to me. And I was like, I don't want anybody here who's not 100% all in. That's bad for the culture. So Jason was so great about it, really understood and respected that.
I guess there is a little bit of a Venn diagram, though, in that, like, as you said, like how gambling companies built their marketing around television, radio, right? And now it's dramatically changing if you want to like secure Gen Z and the upcoming Gen Alpha as a, turn of legal age. What I'm guessing the answer is they haven't, but have gambling companies figured out how to utilize this creator economy in any way? Or who's doing it better than others?
If I thought they had, I wouldn't have gotten so all in on this company. No way. It's an incredibly dynamic space. It's a completely, it kind of went from a few big media companies controlled everything, all the reach, to almost completely decentralized. I mean, it's fascinating. And nobody's won this space. Nobody's sort of been able to consolidate enough in terms of like, how do you use this kind of form of media to connect with, your 25, 30-year-old consumer today? Nobody's doing that well. Nobody. A lot of people are trying. It's like Prize Picks comes to mind as, they try really hard. Underdog tries really hard. I don't think it's anywhere near where it's going to be in a few years.
Which leads me to believe that, all the talk about the winners and losers in the sports betting space, we're still only 7 years plus into it, 8 years plus into it. The story's not written yet. There's still a whole new marketing blitz to come, huh?
Yeah, look, I'm excited to watch it unfold, and I wish I could say I missed the operation, but to be truthful, it's like I think it was time for someone else to take that on. I don't know if I was up for it. like this is psycho. What's happening is psycho right now. Jason and Paul have a gas tank like I've never seen, and so do a lot of the executives. Like, they are just so resilient, and I needed a change. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think I could have done it like they're doing.
Know thyself, right? Are we going to see more tweets from you about Kalshi, or are you hanging up your Twitter machine there?
So who knows? Hopefully they just don't do anything so insane that it prompts something, because I'm not looking to.
Well, you've started a lot of conversations in the last few weeks, and I really appreciate you jumping on here with me to discuss it and that and more. And looking forward to having you up here again, Matt. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for the talk. It was nice connecting.